What's your opinion on love languages?
On love languages,
Yep.
I think one thing people don't think about love languages, I think one people don't think about love languages is that two of them are dangerous. More dangerous than others, and people don't really think about that. So when it comes to the love languages, I'll give you an example. If somebody's a gift giver, and let's say you bought me a pair of shoes. Like, hey, I bought you this, I know you wanted them, that's nice. Do I have to immediately go out and buy you something so that we're good?
No.
That'd be weird, right? What about if it's an active service where I'm like, hey, babe, I just took out the garbage. Do you immediately have to go like, oh, well, then I'll go make the bed. So now we're evened out. That's weird, right? Wouldn't do that. When it comes to even quality time, if we're just hanging out with each other and you're like, hey, I'm going to touch your feet, do I have to hurry and touch your feet?
No.
No, it gets weird. We just enjoy each other. You read your book or I'll play a game or whatever we're doing. The two that are dangerous is words of affirmation and touch. And you wouldn't think so. I'll give you an example. What if you said, I love you? And I go, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Not good.
Now, it feels weird, right?
Yeah.
Or if I say, you look beautiful, and you're like, what do you know? Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I gave you a nice, and you gave me a not nice. If that's not reciprocated, it hurts.
Right.
I got one for you. Try and hold my hand.
Don't like that.
How's that feel?
Really don't like that.
If I'm not in the mood to be touched, but you're a touch love language, you're trying to show me love. And I showed you rejection to your highest form of love. That's the most painful one. If you're with someone who doesn't understand that has to be reciprocated immediately, they'll be causing irreparable damage, even if it's being intimate or even just holding hands. If someone's pulling away or saying, I'm not interested, the highest source of pain for you just trying to show love.
Just rejection. Yeah, it doesn't feel good. I didn't like that.
Who comes first, mom, wife, or daughter?
Who comes first, your mom, your daughter, or your wife? Give me mom, daughter, wife. Daughter, wife? Wife's replaceable. Okay. Oh, wow, replaceable. Okay. What's your list? So this is like hypothetical when I'm like later in life in my 30s when I have all three of those. Okay. So I would say at that point, I'd probably pick like daughter, then wife, then mom. But I love my mom a lot. I love my mom. Respect. What about you? How you feeling? Daughter, if I'm on good terms with my wife, then wife, and then mom. But if not, then mom in the middle. Daughter's at one, okay.
Daughter, mom, wife.
Daughter, mom, wife?
You know what I'm saying? You can always find another wife. You can't have another.
So all of them got it wrong, and I'm inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt because they are young. They're clearly outside. They look like they're at a college situation. And then one of them even said, you know, we're talking about when I'm in my 30s, which suggests there is a lack of maturity and understanding there. So let's lay that there. However, there are a lot of men that will continue this thought even into their more mature era of understanding based on the same logic that these men talked about. But that's wrong. Let me explain something to you. Daughter, mom, wife, everybody, once you get married, once you leave and cleave, once you have or create a union with someone, and for my household, a union under God through Christ, that person, my wife, is the person. Period. We have covenant. We have union. Yes, my mother birthed me, and we praise God for it, and thank you for all of that, and thank you for supporting and growing and rearing me and pouring into me. But once I take on the wife, that person is the person. Even my daughter, we have a daughter. Great. I love my baby to pieces. My daughter is literally the apple of my eye. I love my baby. I love my baby. But she does not come before my wife. No one comes before my wife. Not my friends of umpteen years. No one. Period. I don't even care if we on good terms or not. I don't care if we knucking and bucking and ready to fight that week. Because, marriage be marriaging sometimes. It ain't all roses and cute. I mean, we post these videos and these photos and it look all cute and stuff. Oh, but it gets down. We have differences of opinion. We were both raised differently. We have different ideas. Now, we got the same foundation that is Christ, but we're two people. We're two flawed people. So we are bound to have conflict, and we work really hard to overcome our conflict. We've done really, really well. We call it closing the loop. We try to close the loop on that conflict quickly, but in that quickness, we don't dismiss what the other person is feeling, and everybody gets a chance to get what they got to say out. Anyway, I say all that to say no one comes before my wife. Now, God is the head of my life. God comes first. But when we talking about people on earth, people walking around here, no one comes before her. Then it is my daughter. Then it is my mother. That is because I am my daughter's father. She gets that second spot. This is the household. This is the home, the family me and my wife have created. So we have a responsibility to her. She's an infant. And even up until she's 18, or you know what, because I don't even like that 18 number, but 21, 22, that's going to be my responsibility. Because I remember me at 22, I wasn't ready to really just do the things, even though I had to do the things, because that's just kind of what we do here in America. That's my baby. So we're going to care for her. We're going to do what we need to do for her. But she comes in that second spot. Now, are there situations that cause for us to put our needs or wants down for her needs? Absolutely. She's a baby. She's one. She totally depends on us, but that does not mean she comes first or comes before my wife. My wife comes first. Then it is my mother in the third spot. That doesn't mean I dismiss my mother or I don't help my mother where she needs help or whatever the case may be. But my mom is not my wife. And a lot of people have not appropriately placed their husband and their wife in the appropriate spot. You still got other people before them when that's not, baby, that's not what it is. I'm not sorry. I was about to say I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. That's not what it is. And that's not what it's going to be over here. So, to answer the question, wife, daughter, mother. That's not to dismiss second or third spot, but that is the order in which priority is given.
You know, we only had sex 15 times this week.
Baby, I'm so sorry. With my parents visiting.
You know what? Just shut up. You don't even need marriage counseling right now.
Ben, why would I want your mom's parenting tips? Hell, she's the reason you can't even find the damn ketchup.
Ben, listen, I think it's time to have a conversation with your mom and tell her to stop with those types of comments.
He dry humps me every time I bend over. It's annoying.
Annoying? Would you, I don't know, maybe consider trying to get 6 months out of the new tires we just put on your car?
See? This is what I'm talking about. He expects me to be perfect.
Babe, I'm not upset that you're trying network marketing. I'm upset because your damn inventory is piled up in the garage.
Oh, go play your fantasy football.
Oh, okay, listen, you guys got to stop. Is Hannah going to join us today?
I don't know. Between our kids' travel ball and dance, we haven't seen each other in 6 months.
That motorcycle was the dumbest purchase you have ever made.
Oh my God, I am so done with all the damn shiplap in this frickin' house.
So let me ask you, what are your thoughts?
It's whatever she decides or wants. I'll be in the garage.
We've only had sex 15 times this week.
So a lot of you are commenting stuff like, how could she know that about my relationship? Does she have a spy camera in my house? On my last video detailing the dynamic between the critical husband and the hippy-dippy wife. But here's the deal. Psychologists aren't psychic and we don't spy on you, or we shouldn't. But we just know that people come in predictable flavors and we know certain flavors pair up. And we need to know the types of people out there because each type of person has a completely different set of needs, strengths, and growth areas. So this is how I think about the different flavors of people. Basically, there are two main categories of core beliefs: externalizing and internalizing. Internalizing beliefs are where the person believes, I am defective, I am the problem. They commonly fear things like I'm not worthy, or I'm incompetent, or this is hopeless. These internalizers are what Terry Real calls one down people. Internalizers. Externalizers make everything everybody else's problem. They're what, oh my gosh, I can't talk and do this at the same time. They're what Terry Real calls being in a one-up position in a relationship. The externalizers commonly have a core belief of, well, she's the problem, so I shouldn't have to do anything about it. Or he's the problem, so this justifies my mistreating or withholding affection. In therapy and in real life, these externalizers will not make any changes until their externalizing core beliefs are challenged. And you guessed it, people with internalizing one-down core fears of being bad won't make any changes in therapy until their core fears of being bad are regulated by experiencing a feeling of being accepted. The avoidantly attached internalizers want nothing to do with messy emotion, so they feel regulated up from their one-down position by giving matter-of-fact explanations, benefit of the doubt, appreciation for practical contributions, and offering practical, accessible skills to instill hope. The reactive or disorganized internalizers need to be regulated up from their one-down position by attunement, engagement, emotional engagement such as validating, empathizing, sharing positivity, resolving conflicts as a team, things like that. So there are 3 types of partners for the internalizing column and 3 types of partners for the externalizing column, and it's all based on the attachment styles. So I call the first internalizing type with avoidant attachment the clueless optimist. Remember, avoidant attachment means they go into fight, flight, or freeze whenever a situation calls for emotional connection or conflict. This person fears their worthlessness, but they try to prove their worth with actions, not with connection, with things like earning money, doing all the things, caretaking, stuff like that. And they think this is also the answer to emotional disconnect, and they can't understand why their partners can't be a little more positive and appreciative. If the clueless optimist personality is low in neuroticism or negative emotion and conscientiousness, that means being responsible and reliable, and that's the clueless optimist hippie, the wife in my last video. If they're high in conscientiousness and low in neuroticism, they're the clueless optimist hero husband that I've referred to in some videos. So after this person's fear of being the problem or defective is regulated, this person is able to work on some emotion connection skills like reflecting, validating themselves and others. This category is most commonly male just because anxious avoidant attachment is more commonly male, but it's more common for internalizers to be female. So there are quite a few females in this category too. Then you have the reactively attached internalizer, the volcano. This person erupts after long periods of the magma brewing underneath where they're silently questioning if how they feel or what they need is actually valid. After being regulated that they're not terrible and bad and that they are valid, this person works up to learning direct communication like I statements and direct requests. This is predominantly female just because reactive attachment and internalizers are predominantly female. Then you have the internalizing disorganized attached people. I call these the testers. This person absolutely does not feel safe or justified to express her feelings or needs, and she craves connection so much, so she sets up a bunch of tests or demands so that she can get engagement without having to be vulnerable. This is also predominantly females because disorganized attachment and internalizing is predominantly female. But I have had a disproportionately high number of these males in therapy compared to the general population, just because this is a type that comes to therapy. In the externalizing, everyone else is the problem camp. You have 3 types again, according to the attachment styles. Remember, for this whole side of the chart, their core beliefs of, I shouldn't have to change because he's the problem, or her behavior justifies my withdrawal or mistreatment, need to be directly checked before anything good can happen. In the externalizer column, first we have the avoidantly attached rescuer. This person keeps their partner at arm's length by maintaining a superior but helping stance with their significant other. It might look like the clueless optimist hero, but the difference here is the rescuer secretly believes that training strategies such as the silent treatment or withholding treats is appropriate because their rescue dog sometimes acts up. This is the guy in my video, the critical husband and the hippy-dippy wife, if the husband sees the wife as a hopeless, dumb charity case. If this person allows their core belief to be challenged, they will work on skills to regulate their discomfort with disorderly, messy things like emotions and environmental chaos. Then this person can learn some engagement and communication skills to actually start connecting with this partner. This is mostly males, point blank, because externalizers are more commonly males and avoidantly attached people are more commonly male. Next, we have anxious reactive externalizers. I call this the dictator. This person comes in hot with their expectations, but differs from the rescuer because this person craves contact and engagement, usually in the form of a lot of sex with their partner. They don't just want to control their partner. This is the guy in the critical guy in the hippy dippy wife video. If he yells at her 1 minute and then expects sex and interaction the next minute. If this guy is also high in neuroticism and conscientiousness, he or she runs a tight ship, and I call this person the manager dictator. It is mostly males, but females aren't uncommon in this category. And finally, the category of externalizing disorganized attached people. I call these the puppet masters. This person's attachment style makes them so afraid of abandonment, yet so craving of connection, that they justify manipulation and testing people and pushing people away because their faulty core belief is that others are the problem. This person is often in relationships that aren't necessarily toxic to begin with, but because of this person's style, it can become toxic, and then the person can claim victimhood. It's worth mentioning because it's a common scenario. This person loves finding a clueless optimist hero type and enjoying their heroic antics and then squishing them like a bug and justifying it. This is a mixture of men and women, since the core belief style is mostly men and the attachment style is mostly women. So neuroticism, or negative emotional experience basically, and conscientiousness, basically being responsible and reliable, are two of the 5 well-researched personality traits that are known to really affect a relationship dynamic. So I take all 6 of these categories and split them up into 4 smaller categories each. The high neuroticism, high conscientious people, they show up in a relationship as the big boss. Low neuroticism, low conscientious people, those are the hippy dippies. High neuroticism, low conscientiousness, they show up as hopeless in their relationship. And the low neuroticism, high conscientiousness, these are the ones that want to be heroic in the relationship. So if you figure out that you're a volcano and you're high in conscientiousness and neuroticism, you're a big boss volcano. If you're low in both, you're a hippy dippy volcano. If your core belief in your attachment style puts you at rescuer and you're low in conscientiousness and high in neuroticism, you're a hopeless rescuer. You find yourself frustratingly ineffective. The pairings I get most often in therapy are by far the clueless optimist hero and his wife, the big boss volcano, followed by the clueless optimist hippy dippy, who prides himself on being passive, with his wife, the hopeless tester. The big boss rescuer and his wife, the checked out optimist hippy dippy, is what I described in my last video. Okay, so if you do a workshop with me, you'll figure out where you and your partner fit in all of this and what to do about it. Of course, there are some people that are securely attached and they don't have any faulty core beliefs, and they neither go one up nor one down in a relationship. Those people find each other in matchup and they don't have a whole lot of conflict. I'm just being honest. These people all mingle up with each other in different combinations and they end up in couples therapy.
Hey, the woman of your dreams does not exist. God is not handing out perfect wives or perfect product. If you want your wife to be a freak, then you need to show her how to be a freak. If you want her to be submissive, then you love her into submission. If you want her to be wise, then you teach her. There's a book that I read that said that a husband ought to love his wife as Christ loves his wife, or the church. What did he do for it? Lived for it, died for it, forgave it, taught it, everything. So the woman that you want, the perfect woman, will come from you. This is the language of kings.
And I really try to study the experts, and this is the Gottman's thing. This was probably this is like my foundation for probably everything. It's very simple. You have a good view of someone, you'll have a good relationship. If you have a bad view, you'll have a poor relationship. They would even say that communication doesn't solve conflict. It's not about being a good communicator. It's actually about being a good view holder. Because then you can make that what's called the fundamental attribution error, where the wind blows and the door closes too fast. You're going to be like, why are you so careless? It's like the wind blew, but you're attributing it to their character when it was just a situation. But that's because you view them very poorly. There's been some hurt, some trauma, some emotional injuries that have taken place. All of that is being prepackaged into that particular moment.
Yeah, he's right about that, because it refers to the positive or negative perspective in the sound relationship house. So that being in the negative perspective is walking around with a chip on your shoulder, always waiting for something to go wrong, and making that fundamental attribution error where you really attribute anything that goes wrong in the relationship to your partner's character, to something lasting in your partner that is wrong. if you're a negative perspective. If you're in the positive perspective, on the other hand, when something goes wrong, your partner's grumpy, then you kind of think maybe it's a situation that's causing that. It's not your partner's character. And you're going to say, what's the matter, honey? Did you sleep badly? Or what's on your mind? Are you stressed? And so that perspective is absolutely critical. And this was an idea suggested originally by Bob Weiss at the University of Oregon. And it's been replicated many times in our lab and other labs. Now, that's not to say that interaction is not important, because the way you interact really affects the positive or negative perspective, particularly the way you deal with conflict and also the way you improve or denigrate your friendship. So all of that impacts the positive or negative perspective. It's not one or the other, but he's absolutely right that the way you perceive your partner and make that fundamental attribution error is absolutely critical in a relationship.
One of my mentors told me, anytime that as a man you go out to eat, whether it be for work, whether it just be with your friends, that you should always order a dessert to go for your wife and take it back home. And that was a big deal. He explained to me the fact that doing this simple thing establishes the fact to your woman that you are thinking about her even when you're not with her.